Good morning. So I'm going to start sitting because it'll keep me anchored. When I speak, I normally take the full space, and I think I'm supposed to stay on this black X here, so I'm just going to stay seated right here. If you guys spend much time with me, you'd find out pretty fast that one thing that's true about me is I want everyone to be successful, and not just successful. I want them to be successful, like, to the max, you know? And that hasn't always been true. It was probably about 10 years ago that shifted in me. It started to shift in me where I went away from focusing on myself and my path. I started focusing on the people around me and how to help them be successful. But I'm also a highly semantic person. And I want to dig down to the very guts of a thing and understand its root system, you know? And I did that with success because I found that if I want to help other people be successful, then I kind of got to know what success means and what it is. So I started to ask questions, and I just kept asking questions and digging deeper and deeper. I landed on 3 core questions by which the success of any thing or person can be accurately and incontrovertibly defined. You guys want to know what the questions are? You're a tough crowd. It's early. It's okay. I'll answer for you. You do. I can feel it. Okay? And that's a good thing because that's all I got to talk about this morning. So, in order to express that, though, I'm going to share it with you the same way that I learned it, because I learned it by working backwards, okay? But I need an assistant in order to do this, and I'm not asking anyone to get up. I brought my assistant. His name is Fred, okay? Welcome, Fred, to the stage, everybody. That's good. Okay. Fred's a fork, okay? But we're going to start with Fred, with working backwards here, because Fred's simple. Fred's a fork, right? Humans are complicated. Fred's a fork. So we're going to start with him, okay? So here's the first question. First question is, how do we know when Fred has been successful? You guys are going to make me answer this, aren't you? It's easy. It's when he takes the food and he puts it in the mouth, you know? It's easy, right? That's success, right? It's the purpose of Fred. That's his purpose, right? Google defines success as the accomplishment of an aim or purpose, right? So I'm going to assume that it's safe to say that purpose defines success. We all okay with that? Purpose defines success. Okay. So let's do another easy question, right? Which you're probably going to make me answer as well. How do we know that's Fred's purpose? This one's really easy. Because he's a fork, right? We know because we can identify him. Right? It's a fork. The purpose of a fork is to take the food and put it in the mouth, right? So is it safe to say then that identity, because we can identify him, begets purpose, and purpose defines success? Are we all okay with that? We can identify a thing, we know what its purpose is by its identity, and now we know how it can be successful, right? Okay, now let's ask the really hard question, and it's really a series of questions. How do you know what this is? How do you know what Fred is? Anybody? You've been told. You got taught, right? But that's not good enough, right? This is where my questions have to go deeper, right? Who taught your teacher? Their teacher. Who taught that teacher? Well, their teacher did, right? But that's not good enough. You go back and back and back and back. Where do you have to go? Where it all started. Where the fork began. Its origin, right? So we have to go back to the one who said, I've crafted this thing. It is a fork and it will transmit food from plate to mouth, right? We have to go back. So is it safe to say then that we know the success of a thing by its purpose? We know its purpose by its identity. We know its identity by its origin. We all okay with that? Okay. So here's the thing. Take that and apply it to humans. It gets a lot more complicated. We live in an age of relativism. And the thing is, relativism is great, right? It's what allows diversity of ideas like we have here to come together and be synthesized into new things. And that's wonderful. But we've allowed relativism to creep onto sacred ground that we need to remain absolute. Identity is one of those things. We want to say we get to decide who we are. It's not true. It's logically false. We don't get to decide because we didn't make ourselves, right? We didn't choose to be here. We were born. That's it. We don't have the authority to define ourselves. So success comes from a different source than what we can define. We want to be the artisans and the craftsmen of our identity when we need to be the explorers and the discoverers of it, right? We want to design it when we need to be uncovering it. We want to build it when we need to be exploring and discovering it and revealing it and gathering like puzzle pieces that we connect together to understand ourselves better, right? I mean, look at social media. Look at all the posturing and the image management. That's what we're doing. We're creating, artisans create artifices, right? An artifice, the adjectival sense of that is artificial. Another word for that is false. And when we represent falsehood, we're lying, right? And we don't need to lie about ourselves. The world needs you to be you. I mean, put it to the test. Can Fred say, hey, I'm actually a pry bar. I used to pry things. That's what I really am. He can actually pry things. He's kind of designed for it a little bit, right? But let's take another step. Fred says, I'm a bird. I'm going to fly. You can say all day long that you're something you're not. What the world really needs, what I really want, are successful people in this world. And the world needs you to be successful. But when I say that, I'm really talking about what the world needs is for you to be who you really are. And you need to discover it and then act like yourself. That's what we really need. You can drop the facade, drop the play acting, drop all that, because we don't need any of that. That makes the world a worse place. Because the beautiful truth is that the world needs you. Thank you.